Welcome to Dynamite Delight. And the title of this sucker is... Sorry about that. They are pushing it. Guys, when you look at this show, let's make this simple. Was this a good show? In many ways, yes, it was a good show. We can get that clear right now as it stands. But, was this pushing it too far, though? Understand, guys. I'll talk about the main event, what happened with Chris as well as Nick Gage, flat out. But they are pushing it. I have no idea how TNT is going to be dealing with this because, understand, blood and gore in a regular television show doesn't usually happen. It don't. That's the reason why UFC has those specials. Normally, when any type of blood is shown on a live television show, the FCC is going to be notified and the network will be charged, and then the company who did the production of it will be charged accordingly. Could be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. I don't know. There could be $10,000 to $20,000 in fines because of what's going on. Now, my guess is because Tony Khan is a crazy son of a bitch, he's willing to take that risk. So, they're pushing it. The question is, how long? I'm not going to make that as the title, but that's what I'm saying. Now, 10-man elimination tag. We got the Dark Order with Paige versus the Elite Squad. And doing... what? Why did they do Space Jam? Why? Space Jam is a flop. I didn't need to see the movie to see how bad the animation was. You make everyone look crappy. Now, I know people are going to say the animation was great. Look, there's certain things, when you see the original Space Jam from the 90s, wasn't great animation, wasn't great computer graphics. No. But it looks better with Michael Jordan. It does. It's actually better. It's a better movie. And I'm just saying. Not taken away from the player who's doing it. I'm not mentioning his name because he is a bit of a nut. He doesn't deserve my credit, my applause, nothing. He's a nut. He's a great player. You know who he is. But I ain't saying nothing about him because he's a nut. Let's move on. Was the elimination match good? Yeah. I'm not fond beyond the 6-man tag. 8-man tag, 10-man tag, it just... they go too far with it and you can't catch all that's going on in the ring and outside the ring. It's so hard to not only film the damn thing, but to really enjoy it because you can't see it all. As a fan, you can't. Was it alright? It was alright for what it was. This was supposed to get Hangman Page over. That's what this is all about. And when it came down to it, the only two that was left from Dark Order was Hangman Page and Silver. Silver, after getting his shoulder fixed up a little bit, he's still wearing the elastiband to try and keep it safe because he can still get an injury. He can still get that thing separated again. I doubt he's ever going to stop wearing it. He did well. He did very well. But he got eliminated eventually as well. And when it came... oh yeah, I almost forgot. Stu Grayson went and did a corkscrew helo over the top turn rope. And there was no one to catch him. And he went splat onto thinner mats than the mats that's around the ring. He was very, a little bit more up the ramp. And the mats there are thinner than the mats that are on the ring or near the ring. He went splat. Hopefully he's all right because he did not look good when Carl Anderson, or not Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows or Doc Gallows really had to take him into the fans. Hopefully he's all right because he took a hard splat. I am telling you, that sucker was a hard splat. But in the end, we didn't get the match that we thought we were going to get. Hangman Page lost to Kenny Omega. So now, Dark Order doesn't get their tag team opportunity, and Kenny got exactly what he wanted. He got Hangman Page. Next week, I'm sure Hangman Page is going to be called into the ring, and he's going to have to step aside and give up his title shot. Flat out, that was the agreement, and that's what we got. So the question is going to be, what does this really mean for Hangman Page? And how far are they going to go with it? There you go. Now, we got Team Taz segment. The team. I think the reason I'm botching is why do I feel very uncomfortable about this situation? Was Starks good? Yeah, he was. He spoke very well, made it very clear about when it came to Brian Cage, you're nothing but an idiot. You can't talk. You got no charisma. I am the one who made it all work. I am also the greatest man to ever live. You know why? Because I was making sure I was covering for your ass and was kind enough not to get angry at you when you screwed me out of my matches. But now I am champ. The FCW champ, and ain't nobody better. And he even had himself a nice marching band that was playing a little bit of Louisiana music that comes from his hometown. It wasn't bad. I won't say it was bad. It was actually good. Hobbs was not there. Hook was with him. He was holding some flowers. And Taz was up on some podium. And then you got Brian Cage coming out, attacking some members of the band and scaring away a Hook and a Starks. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Starks, but Starks is not a bad talent. Now, question is, can he take it to the next level? He looks good, but can he go beyond being good to great? I don't know. But let me put it to you like this for Brian Cage. They need to end this at the next pay-per-view. Flat out, it needs to end, and Brian Cage needs to move on, because this is not good for Brian Cage. Brian Cage needs a mouthpiece, and he doesn't have one. Brian Cage needs to be in a tag team. He's not in one. Brian Cage just needs to move on to someone else. Flat out, he cannot, and I repeat this, he can't continue doing this. For the FCW title, that's not supposed to be a title, but it is a title, and he needs to move away from it. That's just me, you guys, send me below. Now, New Japan Pro Wrestling match. King Haku's son, Fluloyo. I'm mispronouncing his name. Flat out. Spit coming out of my mouth. I'm mispronouncing his name. King Haku's son, Fluloyo. Leo? I think that's it. Fluleo. That's his son, nearly 6'10", or is 6'10", up against the Murder Hawk, the Lance Archer. Lance Archer's here. Flueo was this high. That's something you don't see every day. Two tall guys, and one of them is even taller than the other one, but skinnier. Because Flueo looks big in height, but he's a little slenderer. Then, let's be honest, he looks skinnier than Lance. He does. He looks a little bit skinnier. So was this a good match? Lance really made the match better. Flueo really is still green. You can see the way he worked in the ring. Lance is not that great in the ring right now. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler. He's not. He's a good wrestler. But here's the problem. He works better with smaller wrestlers, or if he has to work with someone his own height, it's got to be someone that is good enough to work and bounce back and forth with him. And Flueo, if that's his name, I think it is, cannot do that. Flat out, he can't. He's still too green. He's been in the business 5 years. So I was not surprised Lance was going to win here. It's just that the match didn't flow very well for me personally. Now, we got two people talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got the Moxley being angry because, what is the guy named? Takahashi, I believe that's his name, wanted to make it clear that he is the next one going after that title. And I believe that's going to be at least next week or week after at New Japan Pro Wrestling. If I understand correctly, this is going to happen in New Japan Pro Wrestling, not in AEW. Fuck AEW. Fuck New Japan Pro Wrestling. In the respect that if we do not see the match, and I'm saying this as an AEW fan, they must, please, when the match finally happens, they must show a snippet of it on AEW television. Even if it's 1 minute or 2 minutes, they must show the ending of that match just to let us know who won it. Just saying that it's Lance Archer or Takahashi won't help. And even though Moxley made it very clear that he's going back to New Japan himself, and he wanted to make sure that whoever is there, even Takahashi, he's coming for everybody. Here's the problem. If we don't see it, what is his partnership between New Japan and AEW or New Japan and Impact Wrestling? They must show something, not just saying it. They must show it. Please, someone show it. Please, someone on AEW or Impact Wrestling for that matter, show us footage from New Japan. What is New Japan gaining here? If they're doing this, letting their own wrestlers go over there, but they don't even show any footage from them, other than little teasers of their introductions, that means nothing to an American fan. They want to know what's going on. If you want to get new eyes on your product, that's for New Japan, AEW, and Impact Wrestling. Even if AEW and Impact are letting people see their product over there, what about us? What about me? And particularly, I don't speak Japanese. I can't read Japanese. I watch Japanese animation, but I have to use subtitles. They must show us what's going on. I'm just saying. Now, we got, Malachi Black attacks a Cody Rhodes. Actually very good. Huna Cuperero, I believe that's his name, got literally laid out with a black mask. Done. Now next week they're supposed to have their match. Supposedly having a match. Question's going to be, will the wonderful black Malachi with the black mark and cheek here and all around here, will he win? Because if he does not win flat out on the show or at a pay-per-view, it was a waste of time to give him so much hype. He must beat Cody. He must beat Cody. Flat out in the most destructive way possible. Or this won't work. I'm just saying. Now, to trios match. I'm Hardy Brand. When it comes to, what is the guy's name? Helico, working with Private Party. They're not bad. Then you got Christian working with the... Sorry, guys. I'm still working through my shoulder problems. Stress. I mean, not stress. I stressed out my shoulder by exercising too much. But anyway, when it comes to Christian working with Jurassic Express, I'm cool with it. But here's the problem. We had a whole bunch of trios match. 6-man tag. 6-man tag, which... Where is the damn title? There's supposed to be a trios title coming. We need a trios title. They need to say it at Full Gear. They need to say it at All Out. They need to say it anywhere. They need to say it. Guys, we need a trios title. You're showing so many 6-man tags. You got to have a title. Because this is needed. It's needed. Because what are we going to have on Rampage? Which Rampage, got to say this simply, Tony Khan didn't come out. It was Tony Schiavone. He made it very clear Rampage is going to be in Chicago. And you got Sting and Darby Allin. And Darby Allin is making it very clear when they get things started with Rampage, it's going to be hot. But then, it's basically, he's pretty much saying that CM Punk is going to be there. Hopefully it's true. And hopefully CM Punk is going to do exactly what we all think he'll do. And it will reinvigorate the wrestling industry for all other promotions. And kind of make the WWE wish they had managed to do one thing. Listen to the man saying, hey, you should have done this. And fuck you for not listening. I'm just saying. Now, for that match, the Faces won, but they need a title. They need a title. Now, of course, I could talk a little bit more about the Blade whacking Christian in the face, but we know what's going to happen. The Blade's going to have a match with Christian. That's just it. Moving on. Now, Thunder Rosa versus Julia Hart. Thunder Rosa's official. She's signed. Now, she is signed. Now, I got to say this because either tomorrow or Friday, I will be uploading my next Gump report. That will be on Thunder Rosa if she joined Impact Wrestling. Now, this has been filmed. I'm saying it right now because I already filmed it, already edited it. The only thing I have to do is upload it. This was before Thunder Rosa was announced to now work with AEW. That doesn't take away the validation of my video because I even said that she's probably never going to do it and she'll go to AEW. I'm sure I said that. So this is just my thoughts on what would happen if she did go to Impact Wrestling. So either it's going to be put up tomorrow or Friday. I don't know yet because I'm thinking of doing another Gump report tomorrow so I can have at least a couple more for next week or at least for this weekend because I forgot, is there a pay-per-view this weekend? Please tell me below if there's a pay-per-view this weekend. I don't remember. Anyway, the match itself. Was it good? Kind of hard to say. Because Julia Hart is still kind of green. She's cute. She's athletic. But she is a bit green. Being part of the Varsity Blondes is good. Because now they got a faction of their own. But she still feels a bit green. And I haven't heard her talk yet. Because you got, well, how can I say this? Once it comes to Brian Pillman Jr., he talks very well for all three of them. So there's no real problem with it. But I would like to hear how she sounds because sooner or later, she's got to be on her own. We got to hear her. So I didn't expect Thunder Rosa to lose on her true debut match as an official member of AEW. That's just that. Finally, oh no, almost forgot. We got two more matches. We have FTR versus Santana Ortiz. You got Telly on one side and you got Conan on the other. This was the match of the night for me personally. Very well paced, very fast paced. Santana looked very good. Ortiz looked good. Wheeler and Dash Hardwood looked great, at least until the end of the match. Because I don't know what exactly happened at the end of the match. Because Wheeler got hurt. He got his forearm right here, I believe, right at this spot. Somehow it got caught onto the turnbuckle or on one of the ropes or something, and he started bleeding. He literally noticed there was something wrong. Something got ripped open, and he went over to the trainer. Now, I got the picture of it. So if you got squeamish a little bit because of blood and seeing a bone possibly, don't look at this. So here it is in my face. If I'm right, the white stuff you're seeing there is Wheeler's forearm bone, his bone, possibly. I'm not sure. That could just be white piece of paper, but I think that is his bone. Now it's out of my face. You look for yourself. You saw it for yourself. It's a possibility that this section right here got ripped wide open and that white spot might have been his bone. I'm hoping it wasn't, but I think it might have been. And if it has, he got a huge chunk of his skin ripped off by something. Some metal got ripped open, ripped off, and there was a good amount of blood on the floor as you saw from the image. So I truly hope Wheeler's okay. I really hope. I was worried about Stu Grayson doing that corkscrew helo off over the top turnbuckle or turn rope. And I thought he might have splat himself and really hurt himself. But Wheeler didn't look good. My guess is he's got a bad gash in his arm, and I hope he'll be all right. Finally, the last match of the night. That is the Painmaker Chris Jericho versus... This is where, like I said in the very beginning of the show, what is TNT going to react? What is the FCC going to do? Because Nick Gage, as you saw from my video from Nick Gage and Matt Cardona video. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. It was, I'm not against it. I'm not like squeamish to blood. I'm just not. But for me personally, gimmick matches like that, death matches or bull rope matches or Texas bull rope match or a buried alive match, they're great as long as they're in the right context. In this respect, it's in the perfect context because the labors of Jericho is Jericho trying to get his hands on, unfortunately, MJF, because he got thrown off the Blood and Guts cage into something where he did dislocate his elbow. There's no way you can hide that. He did dislocate his left elbow. He did. No, his right elbow. My mistake. His right elbow. He did dislocate it. He hurt himself. Just because he was on mats that was covered with cardboard didn't mean he didn't hurt himself. He did. So, this was all about that. And this is where things get very interesting. We had the two blights. We got the pane glass. And Chris did not go for the pane glass. That is what Nick Gage did. Anything that was really heavy, Nick Gage did it. He did the heavy lifting of how the death match work. The reason I'm kind of botchy here is this. I'm worried that the people of AEW are going to expect this a lot. And if you get this too much, it will become commonplace. If it does, it becomes irrelevant eventually. You will end up like WWE. So this rare match should be a rare match. If something has to be like this once a year, let it be once a year. Once a year. Or once every other year, that a match, something like this, where it's a very dangerous match, where people can't get hurt, should only be once a year, or maybe once every 2 years. This is what I'm worried about, because the AEW wrestling fans can be very dumb sometimes, because they demand things that should be very rare. They don't think about making it mean something. So when this match happened, you got Chris getting cut open with the pizza cutter early. You got the tube lights, I'd say about 8 to 9 minutes in. Then the pane glass came in right after the commercials actually. Then he gets thrown into the glass. That's Chris, after it was already broken up. And also he had a hit in the head as well as in the back with the tube lights. And then you got Nick Gage digging at that skull, digging in it. I think I got shot. Right now, I think I got a shot. And it wasn't a bad match for what it was. It was a death match. It's trying to make sure that people understand the labors of Jericho is not a joke. Chris feels incredibly angry, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get back at MJF. He's going to go through hell and high water, just like Hercules and just like Cody Rhodes, because Cody did the same damn thing. Now, the end of the match, he did win with a Judas effect. And it was over. And this, I gotta say, before I get to the ending of it, is a good showing for Chris, even though, let's be honest, Chris got tanked within 8 to 10 minutes of the match. He did. There's no way to hide it. He got tanked. And he was not used to losing that much blood in his face. He could barely see. So, it was good to see he could tough it out. When it came to Nick Gage, this is the first true chance that Nick Gage got a chance to show what he can truly do as a deathmatch wrestler. Now, mind you, like I said, deathmatch wrestling should only be a very rare occurrence. But from what I can tell, Nick Gage is a staple at GCW. So seeing it all the time, I don't think that would translate to national television or international in a very high, large scale. Small to medium scale, yeah. But a large scale, no, I just don't see it. Not because he doesn't do a good job at it. It's because if you show it every week or every month, it's a waste of time. Once every 6 months, that could work. Once a year, and he wrestles normally throughout the entire year, but once a year or twice a year, he does this, that would really help. That's just me. And in the end, MJF was at commentary. He made it very clear, you are not going to survive the next one. He belittles the crowd, and he also says you're not going to survive the next one. And you said, Oh, what was the guy's name? It's been so long. Tube Guerrero, because he said it very clear that when you belittled me before talking about Tube Guerrero, I got him, and you got to challenge him next. Well, this match is supposed to be the only way to win is to use an aerial maneuver to beat your opponent. And Tube Guerrero is when you're going to challenge to do it. Your nemesis. Now the question is, what condition is he in? Can he still do high flying? And let's be honest, Chris is not a high flyer anymore. Chris hasn't been a high flyer in maybe 6 or 7 years. He hasn't been a high flyer. Once he hit his 40s, he can't do high flying like he used to. You can see his shape. He's not a high flyer wrestler anymore. He can't do it. So this is going to be very interesting. They are pushing it. I'm not saying they're pushing the envelope, making things greater. But this is a question of what the FCC is going to allow on TNT or when they move to TBS. It doesn't make a difference which one they're going to do in 2022 or here. What will the FCC allow? Will they allow that much bleeding on this type of television and cable networks? Will it continue? Because there's going to be a point where either they're going to keep getting charged $10,000 every time there's blood, or the FCC is going to come down on TNT or TBS and tell them, you better stop it, no more bleeding, or we're going to take you to court or something. That can happen. That's just a question of how far they're going to allow it, or if they will allow it or not. That's just me. Guys, tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night, and peace.